Northeast Ohio, dog pound worldwide. There's nothing to be said. You know it's Steelers week. It's now. 6 to 8 championships don't matter. TikTok is done. Our fans from Dover gonna tell us where it's at. Let's go Brownies. Woo, 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 woo.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Zach Kopp, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of The Dawgs. If you'd like to get your intro on the show, head to thedawgspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail in the drop-down menu. If you do leave us a voicemail, you got to get creative if you want to beat out our guy, Kenny Mack. You're not going to beat him out with some lame intro, so make sure you step up your game whenever you leave us one.
That's right.
The Browns welcome the Steelers to town for a huge AFC North matchup, but before we get into that, I want to remind you all to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. If you're watching on YouTube, please remember to like and subscribe. Make sure you tap the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. If you prefer to just listen to your podcast, you can also find us on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Lastly, if you're itching for some more content, become an official Dawgs Pack member at jointhedawgs.com. Check out our Patreon page. You get early access to the episodes. So instead of 2 episodes every week, you get 3 episodes because we do a special Dawgs After Hours episode on there. We have fantasy leagues, game day threads. It's basically turned into just an online Browns backers community. We span the country. Our next goal is the globe. So make sure you check that out. It's a ton of fun for everybody involved. Jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dawgs Pack member. Also want to remind you guys, this Friday, 6 to 6:30 p.m., we're going to have Barry Shuck from dogsbynature.com in studio to do a special episode with us. Barry's been a friend of the show now for basically a year. We haven't had him on in a little bit, but he's been great for the show. He's introduced us to a lot of people. He's a big friend of the show. He's going to be in Ohio for the Browns-Steelers game. He's going to be stopping by, giving us his thoughts on what we need to do to beat the Steelers on Sunday. We're going to go live so you guys can comment in your questions for Barry. We'll answer them live on the show. So make sure you check that out this Friday, sometime between 6 and 6:30 on YouTube.
Dawgs game preview.
So, like I said in the intro, we welcome the Steelers to town. A Steelers team that after week 3, we kind of thought stick a fork in them and they're done. And then they've rattled off a couple wins.
It's what they always do, though.
And they did get to play the Broncos, who are awful. Just lost to our JV team.
Right.
And then what was their other win?
They beat
the Bills in week 1.
They beat the Raiders.
And then they did they beat the Raiders? I don't know I can't remember who they played.
I can't remember now either.
Somebody look that up.
I got it.
But so they're still not great. But what we're seeing out of them is they're slowly starting to try to commit to the run game more. It's still not an elite level run game by any stretch of the imagination.
No, that offensive line is
Seahawks. They beat the Seahawks.
They beat the Seahawks, who also kind of suck too. So, but they're beating the teams that they should, which is what any team can do. And who am I to talk about teams sucking right now when our Browns have been a roller coaster of emotion this year?
Yes.
But you're seeing a commitment to the run game from them more, at least the attempts. Last year and early this year, they weren't even trying to run the ball with James Conner. Now they got Najee in there, at least trying to run the ball. He's good. And where he's killing teams, though, isn't necessarily running the ball. It's catching the ball in the backfield.
Oh, absolutely. I do not think that this is going to be a 100-yard game for Najee on the ground. We still have not given up 100 yards to any running back this year.
Right.
And I think he's only done it once for Pittsburgh this year.
Yeah, like Blake said, they're really targeted. They want to get him the ball because he really is a dynamic playmaker for them in their offense. Yeah. Obviously, they're still struggling to run the ball. Their offensive line is a bunch of young guys. I think they've returned one guy on their starting offensive line, so they're really young there and inexperienced. So that should mean good things for us. Hopefully, Myles Garrett. We got to get a better pass rush because we got to get after Big Ben because he really struggles still to throw the football. And I just don't want to see him being able to sit back there all day and just be able to dink and dunk his way down the field.
And there's a little disheartening against the Broncos. I think we only had 1 sack.
Yeah, I don't know if we had a sack.
We did.
We didn't even tackle him. It was like one where we chased him and he kind of fell.
Yeah.
Right.
And Miles got credited with a half or a sack or something like that.
Okay.
So we got to get some freaking pressure. And I don't know, my game plan coming into this, knowing that they're not a downfield passing attack, I would be bringing the house so much. Force Big Ben to move because he can't.
I say the Steelers' offensive line. Think Chicago Bears' offensive line and what we did to them.
Yeah,
that's what we should be doing to the Steelers' offensive line because they're horrible. I mean, it's not. The Bears might even be better up front than the Steelers are.
To the NFL, if you're listening, please call holding on Myles Garrett.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're just going to give him another test for steroids.
Oh, my God. It is so bad. He gets almost tackled almost every single – and I know you're not going to call it every time. Call it sometimes, please.
Well, that way the tackles think, well, shoot, I can't do this every time because I get called for it.
I think they got called for 1 time against the Broncos. The Broncos only had 2 penalties and maybe 1 holding. I can't remember. And there was 1 play – They basically tackled him, form tackled him, and they didn't call it. And it was. I think it might have been on one of their touchdowns. And it's just crazy to me that they won't call it.
Yeah, I think that in this game, I think we got to be able to get after the quarterback. We can't let Claypool just dog us, in one-on-one type coverage because he's a big wide receiver to have to cover.
Well, and that's one thing that I wanted to mention too because I know we talked last week about you got to watch out for every team's number 1 receiver. Cortland Sutton. And he didn't have a big game against the Browns. So kudos to the Browns. However, Sutton is not what he was before his injury. I mean, he's still kind of, he's back, but he's not kind of like we talked about.
You could say that the Broncos were missing their number 1 in Jerry Jeudy.
Right. But Chase Claypool is young and he's got that big body and the speed.
Yeah.
So we got to be careful because he's a guy that he can give us some serious downfield problems.
Dionte Johnson is like a young Jarvis Landry type. Going to hit you, 6-yard gain here, and then he breaks one, for 40 yards on a, 35 after the catch. So I think that, we got to be able to get after the passer. I think that the Browns are do fine, in the running game, and then offensively, their Steelers haven't been great against the run. I've seen teams, my wife being a Steelers fan, I've watched more Steelers games than I'd like to say on when we do our dual TV setup because I'm never watching the Steelers over the Browns. But it's just they like the Bills in the game, like they realized in the second half they could run all over them, and then they did, and they kind of got back in that game. You've seen it where running backs have had. I mean, I think it was even in that Seattle Seahawks game. I'm pretty sure it was Alex Collins ran the ball all over him.
Yep.
I hate that the Steelers got a bye before they get to play us.
It's huge though. That we have that mini bye too, though, which is nice.
Right, but I mean, just a Mike Tomlin team that everybody's counting out. It's a division game. First time we're playing them since we
spanked them twice.
Yes, I mean we're going on. When was the last time Browns had a 2-game winning streak against the Steelers going into, a season?
I don't know if it's ever happened in my life.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's crazy. I think they've won 6 out of the last 10, and we had the 1 tie. So, I think in the season or in the series between us, it's going to be a closer game than what we probably would have thought 2-3 weeks ago when we're like, Pittsburgh, they're done. And now we're like,
preseason.
We better play well.
Preseason, I was legit not worried about them at all. This much worried about them.
Right.
It was
now how you feel?
Now
you feel like they're good enough that they could beat us.
I think their defense is good enough and their offense is doing just enough little things here and there. It's less to do with the Steelers, though, and more to do with the Browns haven't lived up to my expectations.
Right. I mean, if you want to look at the Steelers' defense, honestly, I don't even know who else to talk about except for T.J. Watt.
Yeah, there's block him.
One player on the Steelers' defense that I feel like could wreck the whole game for us, and that's the guy.
Yeah, that's the Seahawks.
Yeah. And that's the thing, though. Like, he's their elite level defensive player, the playmaker. He's the guy that they depend on to make plays, and he does it game in and game out.
So, and here's the thing, too. A lot of times when you run the ball, away from a certain D end, you don't block that guy. Block TJ Watt every play, please.
Because
how many times do we see TJ Watt come off unblocked off the edge, and he chases down the running back from the backside and tackles him from behind?
Especially if your running back is waiting for a hole to open for that split second. That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Yeah, you got to chip. You got to do something. Get him off of his his route. Like if he's wanting to just push him inside, do something with TJ Watt, because if not, it's going to be a long day. And now, luckily, Jack Conklin's supposed to be back.
So that's nice. I think the Browns are going to come into this game, other than Baker maybe, and Kareem, relatively healthy. I think our offensive line will be intact. I think Chubb's going to be back. Jarvis and Odell will probably be healthier. And so I think other than probably Kareem and Baker, we're going to be pretty much full force.
Yeah, that's a good thing to mention. I know Jarvis limped off the field toward the end of that Broncos game, and it didn't look good. It looked bad. But I guess he's okay. I don't think it's a serious injury.
I mean, he came back in, and he told the reporter after the game, I got 10 days now. I'll be fine.
Yeah, I think he's going to probably take it easy this week. You're probably not going to see a whole lot of practice from him, but I think he will play.
He'll be one of those guys probably questionable all week,
Sure.
and they're just setting him out.
It's crazy. You don't realize 10 days is a long time, and your body can heal a lot in 10 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I had surgery on day 1. I couldn't walk at all. By day 10, I had to limp, but I was walking around, so you can heal a lot in 10 days. So,
and the nice thing too is, if Chubb is going to play, if he does play and he's in this game, he doesn't have to be the guy that we lean on for, the whole game, for the offense, Johnson. Because Dionte Johnson showed last week, I can shoulder the entire load myself. Yeah. So that's one thing I hope. I hope that they keep him involved and it's not like, okay, well, Nick Chubb's back, we'll just kind of rely on him, and no, still use Johnson, in your game plan. Still use a Johnny Stanton at fullback. Yeah.
Still use some of the things that worked last week. Don't just say, oh, well, we did that to get by, because some of it worked.
I'd like to see Felton get the ball more.
Yeah.
Especially if we don't have any receivers really stepping up, which we talked about in the last episode, none of our receivers are having good years.
No.
We're about to have, if at this rate,
we're converting Njoku to
it's going to be a historically bad year for receivers on a team in the NFL in 2021. I mean, there's teams out there that have 3 receivers with 1,000 yards or pushing that, and we're going to have 3 receivers be lucky to hit 700. You know what I mean? That's kind of where we're headed right now. So get this guy the ball in space. The first guy never tackles him. He always does a spin move or a juke. He almost never gets tackled by the first guy. And I'm not saying you need to feature him and, put him out there and he runs 58 routes. But give him the ball a little bit.
At this point of the season, going into week 8, I am much more confident, comfortable, happy to see our 6th round pick on the field catching passes than our 3rd round pick.
Yes, Schwartz was great in week 1, and I think we were all kind of shocked. Man, look at how well he played. He has been so bad since then.
I just don't see, and he's not playing a ton, and I get that, but I don't see any improvement when he is playing.
Well, and it's hard to, in my eyes, it's hard to evaluate any of our wide receivers because, like I said, none of them are doing good.
That's true.
So it's very hard to talk about any of. It's not like I can be like, Schwartz is doing so bad. Look at everybody else. Oh. You know what I mean? Nobody's doing that well in the receiving department for the Browns. But how many times do we have to watch him either break off his route or stop running? He reminds me of a middle school kid that doesn't think the quarterback can throw that far, so he stops running. I mean, how many times?
Maybe because he's in practice with Baker, and Baker can't get the ball there because of his shoulder being hurt, Blake.
Yeah,
it's all coming back to that.
Yeah. I mean, he slows down or breaks so much.
Yeah, I mean, and you see these guys, though, and sometimes they just don't work in the NFL. It's just like the speedster. I'm not giving up on him yet.
No, I'm not giving up. I'm just saying at this point in the season, I agree with Blake that, I would love to see.
It's wasted plays when we it's like you call the play and you're like, all right, we're going to go deep and give him a shot. And it's predetermined in the huddle, that's what's going to happen. And it's almost like a wasted play right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I was just saying that, Felton has shown he's more than capable of performing well on the field. And I was a little confused why he didn't get more run the other night. I understand that Johnson had the hot hand. I mean,
I thought for sure Felton would get more carries.
I did too. But maybe it was the plan, and maybe they just said, "Look at what Johnson's doing. Let's not mess with it because we're hurt."
I don't think that they want to give. I don't think that they're necessarily going to give Felton more carries. I think that the promotion of John Kelly from the practice squad or whatever up to the active roster on that day kind of showed that, hey, if they were going to go to another running back, it was going to be him as the running, like your typical between the tackles type of guy.
One thing I forgot to mention last episode, I did like how we were using Felton though in a lot of motion in the backfield pre-snap.
It helps see what kind of coverage they're in.
Yep. I thought that was a very smart way to use him because it's not like he's just a decoy. Like, well, they're not going to throw him the ball anyway. Yes, we will.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, going back in here with the Steelers game, please don't let them hang around because I know we got up to 28-0 last year in the playoff game. And by the end of the game, I was like, well, we better get a stop here because they're going to go make it a one-score game type of thing. So if we get up, hopefully we get up early and just don't play passive. I hate that, and that's such a Cleveland Browns thing.
Got you the lead. Play that. I would play the way I played in the first quarter. I don't care how much I'm up. I'm going to play aggressive until the clock hits triple zeros.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you let this team stick around, it would be typical Big Ben fashion to beat the Browns this year with the team that he's got, and the Browns are supposed to be, it'd be typical Cleveland. Yep. So let's not let that happen.
I think, we talked about what we need to do defensively, offensively. I think it's just going to be more of the same. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run right at them between the tackles. We're going to. I could see us running at T.J. Watt.
Yes. Double team, pull a guard, and
try to take away. If you let him chase down plays because you're not blocking him, he can affect the game. If you run right at him, put him on his heels, and you got two guys going at him, it's way tougher for him to affect the game.
Yeah.
And then whether it's Baker, or it's Case, I want to see some semblance of a downfield passing game.
Well, that's a good. I'm glad you said that sentence right there because this is Monday when we're recording this. Do we think Baker plays this Sunday?
I don't think so
because he did not practice today.
I don't think he'll practice at all. I think it'll be like if he's going to play, he's going to play.
I honestly don't see him back. They said that bone's got to heal, and Baker keeps saying he's going to play, but it's not up to Baker.
He said that last. He said that last week.
In the last episode we did, and Blake talked about the front office being mad at him, probably because he's like, oh, nobody gets to tell me when I get to play. I'm the only one that gets to make that decision. I'm the one who gets to say I can play. Like, no, you don't.
It's one of those things where Baker's, I guess I'll call it his shtick, is great if you're winning and you're playing really well. But
and then
those
when
are
you're
the
losing,
things
you're like,
that when you're losing, they get old quick.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that part. That I didn't keep hearing that. Well, I get to make the decision. I get to say.
No, you don't.
I'm gonna play.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird.
No, you don't. You don't own the team. You're not in charge. I mean,
it's almost like a fake tough guy persona.
Yeah,
like short man syndrome.
Like calm down.
Well, but and the thing is, like nobody believes it anyway. Like when you see that notification pop up, it says, "Well, Baker says if medically cleared, it's his decision," and you know as soon as you read that, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Can you believe though that like the guy's got a fractured bone?
Yeah.
And then they're like saying like, oh, he said they're saying he could be ready next week. That just seems bizarre to me. That
if it's a small bone, that doesn't matter.
But to be at 100% to play in the NFL in whatever it's going to be,
quarterbacks play with
14
broken
days.
ribs.
The thing is that I don't think. Well, I know what you're saying.
They're really good ones.
Yeah,
there is no such thing as 100% in the NFL. Everybody's dealing with stuff
That's true.
every week. But I do think that this will be a case game. I think it has to be. I mean, I think
you're probably better off.
Yeah, especially give him a week. Because here's the thing too: is Case went into that Broncos game no reps. Baker practiced.
Right.
So
that goes back to the rusty. I thought he looked just a little bit off, not like bad, just like okay. I think he needs to get those reps in. I practice him all week.
Yeah,
get him ready to go. I think Case Keenum could help us. I mean, he'll lead us to a victory over the Steelers.
I hope.
Right.
If our run game does what it does, we have no problem beating them.
I just want to see some downfield passing. And the pessimist in me thinks he wants to play so bad. Is it because he's trying to show how tough he is, or it's because he knows if we keep winning with Case, his value's going down?
I think
is it both?
It could be some mental, what if we do really well and I'm not in there type thing. I mean, that's any competitor. But you got to know that, dude. You're our first round draft pick from a couple years ago. Like, whenever you're ready, you're back in. You're the guy. If we were going to
play Case, we would have done it in year 2.
And the thing is, if you're going to be that starting quarterback to lead us to the playoffs, some playoff wins, everything that we were hoping for this year, you got to be healthy or healthier than what you are.
Yeah, we're to what we talked about in the offseason of having to have this conversation about, now obviously we've had the injury and about just we didn't get a deal done in the offseason, so now it's the topic of discussion throughout the entire year because unless Baker lights it up, he's not getting a deal done. So this is going to be a conversation we're having all the way through next season.
Yep.
And being like, well, here we go again. Get your notebook out because we're going to grade Baker this year.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, hopefully we just do our thing. I know we're 3-point favorite at home. So it's pretty much the line in Vegas is saying pick 'em. So,
and here's the thing: is if we come into the game healthy, except for in Case plays, I think we should be the favorite. I think we're better, even without Baker. We're still a better roster.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as we have been on defense a lot this year, I really do think that our upfront pressure, we can get to Big Ben because he's not moving around like he used to and shrugging people. Like Miles gets to him, he's coming down.
Yes,
and he's not shaking bacon anybody. It's over.
Hopefully we just lay him nice and softly down on a pillow.
Don't let him get hurt. Let him play the whole game.
Yeah.
I was saying so we don't get a penalty, for pushing him too hard.
Can you believe what's his face got penalized for the one on the sideline? Who was that?
I don't know which game. I don't know which game you're talking
against
about.
The Cardinals. Somebody on our team just got fined $3,000 for his roughing the passer.
Yeah.
The one where Kyler jumped in the air and guy just kind of poked him with his fingers.
First of all, a $3,000 fine in the NFL that'd be like fining me 25 cents, which says to me they know it was BS. So why am I getting any fine at all?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But all right, so that's kind of, we're going to go even more in depth on Friday with Barry. So make sure you guys tune in. This was just kind of like a light preview for you guys until we get our expert in here on Friday night.
Let's Pick 'em, presented by Symbol.
So we can go through our game picks again. Before we do that, I'm going to remind you guys to check out Symbol, the stock market for sports. Head to symbol.com/Dawgs, DAWGS, to deposit money into the account and play the stock market for sports. Right now, with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, you get a free $10 to play the stock market, and your deposit up to $500 is completely refundable if you don't enjoy the app.
$500,000.
Yeah.
That was Lord.
Is that for all? Is that for everybody, or is that just special for our promo code?
I don't know if it's for everybody or not, but he told me.
You better use our code to make sure.
Yeah, use our code. Promo code DAWGS, DAWGS. You put in $500. You get in there. You play. It's for up to 90 days. You play for 2 months, and you're like, yeah, this isn't for me. You get all your money back.
Right. And you don't have to do 500. You could do 50 if you wanted to, but it's up to 500, which is crazy.
And it's legit. You can't lose that money. So you could put 500, and if you lost it all, you're going to get it right back. And if you put in 500 and win $2,000, you cash out and now you have $2,000.
Yep.
So check it out, the symbol.com/Dawgs, DAWGS. You buy stock of certain sports teams, whichever teams you want. As their stock price goes up, then that's how you make money in the stock market, just like the Robinhood app or any other stock market trading app that you would have on your phone. They also have Pick 3 leagues. We have one on there. You're going to find the Pick 3 leagues by going to teammates in the lower left-hand corner, upper right-hand corner. You're going to hit join/create league, find the Dawgs podcast. You'll make 3 picks against the spread every single week. Person with the most points at the end of the year gets a free Browns jersey from Symbol. I think right now Zach's tied for second. So you got to make sure you beat him. We're not eligible for the jersey, but we're just doing it for bragging rights.
That's right.
So make sure you get on there, do the Pick 3 league, play the stock market. You get $10 free. Your deposit's refundable. The Pick 3 league's 100% free Browns jersey.
You just got to put the time in.
That's it. And it's
games.
Yeah, it's easy and it's fun. It's a good time. I like picking the games every week. It gives me something to pay attention to other than just fantasy and the Browns. So check them out. Symbol.com/Dawgs, DAWGS.
All right, Thursday night, kind of an exciting game here. We get the Green Bay Packers taking on the Arizona Cardinals at Arizona. Cardinals 3-point favorite at home.
We're going to rapid fire these. No Devontae Adams. I'm taking Arizona.
I will also take Arizona.
Same here. I'm taking the Cardinals. LA Rams 14-point favorite on the road at Houston, who Tyrod may be back.
They just covered a big spread against the Lions. The Texans are terrible. I'm still going to take the Rams.
Man, that's
a lot of points.
That is a lot of points. Give me the Texans to cover.
I'll go Texans to cover as well. Cincinnati Bengals, top team in the AFC. When did we ever think we'd say that? At this point?
Yeah, that's right. If the season ended today, they would have the bye.
That's crazy. Cincinnati Bengals taking on the New York Jets at New York. Cincinnati only a 3.5-point favorite. You got some money and you're over in Vegas or somewhere where it's legal.
What do you? Mine says 9.5.
I got 3.5 right here on the line. I don't know. That's what it's saying right here. The website I always use.
Either way, Bengals.
Yes,
Bengals. Yeah, I'm taking the Bengals. If it was 15 points, 20 points, I'm taking the Bengals. Okay, then we got Miami Dolphins at Bills. Bills are an 11-point favorite.
Bills. I picked the Falcons over the Dolphins straight up last time, and I was right.
I'm going the Bills as well.
Dolphins are bad.
They are bad, but Josh might pick them.
I think I will. This division game, I know it was not good before, but I will take the Dolphins to cover here.
Okay, Tennessee Titans, surprise team. We all were writing them off, taking on the Indianapolis Colts. What do you got the line as on that, Josh? Do you have the line pulled up?
1.
Okay, yep, I got the line of 1. I just want to make sure because I was like, man, that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I know.
I'm taking the Titans.
I took Titans straight up against the Chiefs also. Called that one.
Nice. You could have been making some money.
I know. I'm going to take the Titans also, even though both these teams are kind of starting to hit their stride.
They are. They're both looking a lot better than they started out, but I'm going to ride the hot hand with Tennessee here, even though the Colts did just have a big win.
Right.
But
Okay, then we go San Francisco 49ers at Chicago Bears. 49ers 3.5-point favorite on the road. This is Jimmy G. I just got an alert. Jimmy G is going to be the starting quarterback over Trey Lance.
Bears are weird this year. I mean, one game they'll put up
good, and
20, and then they'll struggle to get 3.
They haven't scored 24 points in a game all year.
I'll take the 49ers to win by 4.
Oh, yeah, I'd definitely take the 49ers.
I'll take the Niners.
Eagles taking on the Detroit Lions. Eagles 3.5-point favorite. Feels so bad.
The game of suck.
I'm taking the Lions.
Me too.
They're going to get a win.
The Eagles just let me down. I would have been perfect in symbol. And I picked them to cover against the Raiders, and they came out their bye and got stomped.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts running for his life in that whole game. I watched a lot of that, and on Sunday Ticket, he's literally running for his life.
I'm taking the Lions. They're going to get their first win.
I will too. There's no way they should be 0-7. They're not good, but they're not that bad.
Correct.
No. Carolina Panthers taking on the Atlanta Falcons.
Falcons. Kyle Pitts
1.5-point favorite for the Falcons. I'm taking the Falcons.
To come alive.
Falcons for me.
Yeah, I have to. I cannot pick the Panthers after what they just did.
Sam Darnold sucks.
He's terrible.
Maybe we need to all apologize to Gase.
No, he's terrible too.
Somewhere he's still not got a job.
I told you guys that guy sucked.
Okay, we got New England Patriots Bill Belichick on the road at the LA Chargers. Chargers getting 6 points at home.
Coming off a bad loss to the Ravens.
And a bye week. So they're coming off a bye to play Mac Jones, and Damian Harris lit it up.
Didn't you take the Jets last week against?
I don't know. I don't
remember what the spread was. I probably took them to cover. I didn't think it was going to be that bad.
It was only like 3 or 7, and you took the Jets to cover.
Did I?
Yes.
I'm taking the Chargers here.
I'm going to take the Chargers also.
They just got to win by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think the Chargers will be all right in this one.
Jaguars, Urban Meyer taking on Pete Carroll and the Seahawks. Seahawks 3-point favorite at home with Geno Smith still under center.
You know what's crazy is we make fun of Urban, but the Jaguars have gotten a little better.
I'm taking the Jags in this game. I'm taking the Jags in this game just because.
If he didn't stick his thumb hole up that chick's butt, would we be thinking that they're that bad? I'm just saying, if it wasn't for that, we'd be talking about how, hey, Urban's kind of got him playing a little bit.
He likes to play a little bit too.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the Jaguars.
What was the spread again?
3-point Seahawks at home. It shows you Vegas don't believe in Geno Smith.
No.
Yeah.
But this line could change. Obviously, we're recording this before the Monday night game.
Yeah.
Maybe Geno lit it up.
I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Yeah, it's tough.
Trevor Lawrence starting to play well, too.
Mm-hmm.
You convinced me I'll take Jacksonville.
All right. Tampa Bay taking on the Saints. Divisional game for them. Tom Brady is a 3.5-point favorite on the road. Give me the Bucks.
The Bucks. Tom Brady might win MVP.
Yeah.
Might.
He is right now as long as he stays healthy.
He had like one game where he only threw like one touchdown or something. Everything else has been just multiple.
He just threw 4 again.
Yeah.
I think he had 5 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I think he went into the season saying, hey, a few years ago, Peyton Manning took my single season record. I'm getting it back this year.
You know what's crazy is he could still be playing, for the next 3 years, and everybody's like, oh, he's the first player to ever get to 600. He might get to 7.
Yeah, he very well might.
The rate that he's on. So I'm taking Tampa Bay. In this one, Josh, you got Tampa Bay?
Yep.
Okay, we got Washington football team taking on the Denver Broncos team the Browns just beat. 4-point favorite for the Broncos at home.
I think Washington football team will win straight up.
They're due for a win.
I do too. That game against the Packers should have been a little better, but I don't know why he fell down instead of just walking into the end zone.
But also, too, they said he gave himself up, but he went.
See, but now they've changed the rule in the NFL that if a quarterback goes head first, it's the same as a slide.
That's so stupid. And he didn't really go head first. He was kind of like, I'm just going to fall over.
Right. So
Which I
now
still
you
don't know
can
why
kind
he-
of see
but,
that, which I didn't know that was a rule change because there's times where I'm like, man, they could have just teed off on the quarterback because he just dove forward. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing as the slide down. You're giving yourself up. So
I did not know that.
Dallas Cowboys at Minnesota Vikings. Cowboys coming off a bye as well, right?
Yep.
2.5-point favorite at Minnesota. Both teams coming off a bye. Both teams should be pretty prepared.
Dallas is playing really well.
I'm taking Dallas. To win by a field goal, I got no problem with that.
Cowboys look too good right now.
Okay, New York football Giants taking on the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football.
Can't wait.
Chiefs, 13-point favorite. Maybe without Mahomes. I don't know his status.
He cleared concussion protocol. He's playing, I saw.
Okay, so I'm going Chiefs then.
I'm going to take the Chiefs, too, because the Giants are bad, but the Chiefs got real problems.
I'll take New York to cover.
Run.
I will.
Chiefs don't have a defense, and they can't run the football.
No, in all the things Pat Mahomes used to get away with, he's not getting away with.
No, he can't just throw it up and close his eyes and get a touchdown like he did in week 1.
Yep, unless he's playing the Browns.
Yeah. Okay, so that takes us back to Cleveland Browns taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. Rivalry game, first one of the year, first divisional game for us. 3-point favorites, Browns at home. I'm taking Cleveland.
Me too. It's another one. 4 or 5 and 3 sounds way better than 4 and 4. So it's another must win. Got to keep pace in the division, close the gap. Yep. I think the Browns are going to win.
I do too. I pick Browns.
All right, that does it for the pick'em.
Awesome. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Dogs. Browns have a big one coming up. Hopefully we murder them. So make sure you guys tune in Friday night when we have Barry Shuck in the studio, give another Steelers preview, and to answer all your questions. We'll be live on YouTube sometime between 6 and 6:30, so make sure you guys check that out. To everybody who's a Dog Pack member, we'll see you on the After Hours show. And to everybody else, see you guys next week, hopefully recapping our win.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast and become an official Dog Pack member and join thedogs.com.
No. And that's my thing too. Is I'm not saying the Browns should bail on Baker and just go draft a quarterback and
I know.
restart. But they need to be extremely smart. That's why I said I think you franchise tag him. And to me, you got to be aggressive to go get a guy, identify a guy that you want, and do whatever it takes to go get him. And I know early, like we said, we wouldn't trade anything for these guys because we think Baker's such and such. this offseason, if this continues, I'll trade whatever it takes to go get the guy that I think, because I'm not going forward with the fourth best quarterback in my division.